So I already have the one eyebrow done, and just a quick, I know that people hate this, but like I just want to throw out like 2 or 3 disclaimers. My hair is like really funny. It's like a lunch lady, I get it, but I just tried to like pull everything out of my face, so like all my hair, so like it wouldn't be distracting. Another one, my eyebrows, I'm like letting them grow out so they look really weird and like there's random hairs everywhere. They're not ever really good without makeup anyway. So I mean, Dip Brow from Anastasia, and this one is in soft brown. And I actually, this dried out on me, and I read that you could put baby oil in it, or like any oil, I guess. So yeah, that's what I did. I mixed it up, and it wasn't so dry. And I used the Anastasia number 7 brush. This is the thinnest eyebrow brush I've ever found. It has a little spoolie at the end, but if you see me going from like this brush to this brush, it's only because I like the spoolie on this one, because the one on this one is so like small and rough. Sometimes it can just like pull too much product for me, and I like having one product, so I use a softer one because this one is much softer and like works a little better. And this is a really hard angle for me to try to like, and I have a mirror here, so trying to like figure this out. Sometimes before I fill them in, I'll dust over with a little bit of this powder. That just kind of like gives me a completely dry surface so that I'm not working on like, because the skin around my eyebrows tends to be a little bit oily, so I just take like a brush like this and just go over my entire eyebrow area with a translucent powder, and that just kind of mattifies anything out. You can do that if you want to. I already did, so a little bit of product, and then I go on the back of my hand and just kind of wipe a little bit off because it can get kind of like chunky. Okay, so I used to start on the bottom of my eyebrow, like I used to start here, but that kind of messed me up, and I like literally just last night figured this out. Going on the top, if you're having problems with your eyebrows, especially having them match, I don't know why this happens, maybe I'm just being stupid, but like going on the tops of them instead and carving out the shape works a lot better than starting from the bottom. Also, that works better when you're going, because when I'm done doing this, like the dip brow, I go over with concealer, but you'll see that just kind of helps me shape them. So like I said, sorry if it's like a really weird angle, I'm trying to make this work. So yeah, I'm just going to take my brush and carve a line. Okay, so I just drew my line. I know this looks really funny, but yeah, just I go through and kind of soften this up. Between each, like, re-dip, like, in between each time that you dip again into the dip brow, or whatever you're using, probably wipe off your brush, especially if you're gonna use one like this, because this gets product build up, like, so fast, and it'll just make it'll make it harder to bend and move, so just have, like, a makeup wipe or whatever next to you so you can just kind of wipe it off. And I'm gonna go ahead and dip back in. Dip back in. Okay, so moving on to the bottom of my eyebrow. Like I said, I'm just going to now carve a shape to kind of line up with this one. As you can see, I add a lot of length to my eyebrow. My eyebrows are naturally really short and weird, so I just like a knife, and it also kind of opens up my face rather than making me look like I have an egghead, which I do. So I'm just going to start right at the front. Never mind, I'm going to start at the middle. Like I said, I know this looks really weird. In between each step, my eyebrows look really strange. And sorry if I keep looking behind you, I'm looking at like the viewfinder. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is fill in the center of them, and I'm just going to take whatever's left on my brush from that last previous application, and just spread it out. I'm going to go ahead and spread this out. I'm going to take just a little bit more because obviously you can see these are uneven and splotchy. Out the shape with concealer. I prefer a cream concealer because a liquid one can kind of like run and just move around and not sit in the same spot for the whole time. So I'm going to use the Revlon Photo Ready, and I'm taking that on this e.l.f. small smudge brush. This is the smallest like brush for this that I could recommend. I used to use a brush like this, which these are nice, but this one was old and it was like not getting me as much precision. So I'm picking, and I'm going to start right at the front, and then I'm going to follow the shape initially, but then when I'm done with that, I'm going to go back and change things. And I don't know if you could notice like that gap right there, but that happens with this eyebrow too. If you have a problem with like, you have like bald spots in your eyebrows, because I have that, and the dip brow won't stick to your skin, with the concealer underneath it, it gives more of like a, I don't know, it just makes them stick. So if you have that problem with the dip brow moving around or just not staying in spots of your skin, just put concealer on first or after like I'm doing, and then just go over again with the dip brow. And the best part about this is this concealer does not oxidize, so that's a really big thing. I'm taking this like flat foundation concealer type brush, and I'm just blending this out. Unless you like that like really like obvious like concealer line look where it's like super faded, go ahead and leave those lines. I always just blend them out. Okay, I'm going to go ahead at the top, and I'm just going to do the same thing and just carve along the shape. Yep, I would go back in with the dip brow and just fix spots that I didn't like, or that, like I just said, like that didn't cover. So I'm going to go over that like gap right here, and before that I'm just gonna kind of brush this out. And also I get that really bad like right over here. Alright, so if you have this problem of like dip brow like looking, if you can see, it kind of looks splotchy in some areas, and like really heavy in others. So what you can do is set it with a powder. I just use, well, I actually use a color from my Smashbox palette. All this is a cool toned brown. These don't have like names to them, so I can't tell you. But this is a really expensive palette for like no reason, so I'm not gonna say go out and buy that palette if you want this, because there's other options. There's this Salon Perfect quad. This just comes with like 3 brow powders and then like a weird highlight. It's literally like the same exact thing, if you can see that. Like these are honestly like the same color. I just like a cool toned brown. I don't like my brows to look warm toned, even though they kind of already do. But yeah, just a cool toned brown. That's all I use, if you're wondering. And I'm actually going to switch brushes because not only is this too thin and I just feel like it wouldn't spread product, like I said, it builds up really fast. So I'm going to take a Salon Perfect brush that came with that brow powders I just showed you. And I'm going to go ahead and just fill in my entire brow, but I'm going to focus this mostly on the spots that just look splotchy and like that I had to go back over with pomade, because that can kind of even out the texture of them. And if we're using like a high quality powder, bless you, definitely use a light hand, because this can make the buildup look worse. And I'm just going through my whole brow. And be careful because sometimes the powder can fall out onto your, you know, not eyebrow area, like your brow bone and stuff. So that just doesn't look great. Just a matte white, and this has sort of like pink undertones to it. So it just like, and I have really veiny, you can probably see, like eyelids, so I like doing this also to kind of get rid of those. I'm just taking a big fluffy blending brush and I'm just going under all those places that I put the concealer. And also this kind of helps blur any harsh lines that the concealer may have left behind. And like I said, I rarely ever do this, but sometimes. So that is basically it. Like I said in the beginning of the video, I know that they really don't look like the same eyebrow, because they're not. They really, I don't know, I can never get them to look exactly like, and I'm okay with that. I don't really care if they do or not. But yeah, that's basically it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it helped you. Again, this was just my eyebrow routine. It's not an eyebrow tutorial per se, because I know my eyebrow shape isn't exactly ideal for everyone, and I get that. So it's like, if you like this, follow it. If you don't, don't. Okay, so I think that's all I have to say. I'm not sure if I'm going to film an outro to this video, but if I do, then bye.